Welcome to the final video of this section. In this challenge, I'm going to ask you to essentially create a weapon inventory system, but I'm going to set you up for that, and then I'll walk you through what I want you to do for the challenge. I'll give you a moment to pause, and then I'll show you a solution right after. Okay, so let's hop into our script. In our script, I'll go through this with you in just a second, but first we need to define what a weapon is if we're creating a weapon inventory system, right? So actually above our main class, go ahead and follow along with this part, we're going to create a class that will define the blueprint for what a weapon is. So we're going to declare another class, which will be a public class, and we'll just call this weapon, and then open up our curly brackets. And in here, we want to define all the traits of what a weapon is. So let's say every weapon has a public integer that's the weapon ID. Let's say that also every weapon has a string that is the name, weapon name. And lastly, let's say a public string for the description, weapon description. And so that we can actually utilize this class and see it in the inspector, let's go ahead and put the attribute at the top of this class that is system.serializable. There we go. Let's save that really quickly. And then lastly, I'm going to get you set up here in your main class. We are going to create an array of your weapons. So let's just really quickly say public weapon, the name of the class that we just made, array brackets, and we'll call it my weapons. So that'll sort of be like your inventory. Let's save this, and I'm just going to show you real quick what this looks like in Unity, and then I'll walk you through what I want you to do for the challenge. So on our main camera, where my main script is attached, you can now see that we have an array called my weapons, and in here it says the list is empty. Look what happens when I hit plus. And inside here, even though Unity's inspector is kind of acting really weird right now, but inside here, you can see we now have weapon ID, weapon name, and weapon description. So you can actually, in your inspector, assign and create, let's say 5 different weapons here in this list. So I'm going to make this size 5. And then here we have element 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sweet. So I'm going to leave this up to you to assign 5 random weapons. And we could just keep 0 empty as an empty slot. That's fine. And let's leave these 4 here. So now that you have that set up, we've made a custom class for our weapon and we have an array of weapons. Here's what I'd like you to do for your challenge. In start, I'd like you to loop through all of the weapons you have in this array and just print out the names. And then in update, I'd like you to, when space key pressed, choose a random weapon and print out the name and description. And lastly, when the 7 key is pressed, I want you to loop through all the weapons and check if the 7th weapon exists, which it probably shouldn't, but if it does, print its name. And if it doesn't exist, print out an error message. And that's your challenge. So go ahead and pause the video here and do your best to complete this challenge on your own. And if you get stuck, I'll see you in just a second with a solution. Hopefully you paused the video. Hopefully you figured out a solution to this on your own. And if not, no worries. We're going to go through one right now. So I know first things first, I need to actually define some weapons in my inspector, right? I'm going to leave element 0 null, also because my inspector is acting really weird. I just don't want to mess with it. But element 1 will have weapon ID, let's say 1. Element 2 is weapon ID 17. Maybe I've picked up 123. And the last element is 5. The name of this would be, let's say, tree branch. And the description is a branch from a tree. I'm going to go ahead and take some time and fill in the rest of these weapons. Okay, so I have assigned my weapons to be a fire sword, a boomerang, and an ice wand. I've given them descriptions and random IDs. Now let's go hop into our script and start working on this. So the first thing is in start, we want to print out all the names of all the weapons we have. So I'm just going to do that with a for each loop. I'm going to say for each thing in my weapons, for each var thing, then what we want to do is debug.log thing.name. And here it is, thing.weaponname. Perfect. Now the next part is an update. When space key pressed, we want to print a random weapon's name and its description. So let's check for space key. We're going to say if input.getKeyDown keycode.space. And let's go ahead and create a temporary variable to pick a random number. And I'm just going to call it integer random ID. And we'll set that equal to random.range between 0 and my weapons.length. And now that we have a random ID number, we can debug.log my weapons subindex random ID dot name. And we'll just end it there. And then we'll do the description on another line. Then we'll say debug.log my weapons subindex random ID dot weapon description. The last thing is when the 7 key is pressed, we need to loop through, see if it exists. If it does, print its name. If it doesn't, print an error message. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to check for input. If input.getKeyDown, keycode.alpha7. And we're going to loop through. And maybe for this one, I will use a for loop, right? So maybe I will loop through for int I equals 0. As long as I is less than my weapons.length, we will increment I. And then inside this loop, we're going to check if weapon7 exists. So I'm going to say if my weapons subindex I dot weapon ID equals 7. We will debug.log and print out like you have this weapon. And lastly, we need our else message, meaning that we didn't get weapon 7. So then we're going to say else debug.log, you don't have it. So I think this is our whole script from top to bottom. Let's go ahead and save this whole thing and test it out. Okay, so the first part of our program is working. We have all of our weapon names that have printed out right at the beginning: tree branch, fire sword, boomerang, and ice wand. And now if I go into my game view and hit space, there we go. We got boomerang and the description, throw it, and it comes right back, right? If we do that again, let's see if we get something else. Fire sword, a sword that's on fire, good for burning things. Okay, cool. That is working. And the last one we need to do is hit number 7. And the message printed out, you don't have it. Perfect. Okay, that was working. Okay. So that was our last challenge in the arrays section, and it's just a good reminder that for loops and for each loops, they do the same thing. It's just a for each loop is unique to C#, and it's a little bit easier to read than a for loop, right? In the next section, we're going to start taking a look at methods and functions, how to create your custom methods, and we'll get some practice with that as well. All right, see you in the next section.